Welcome back to Metals, Money, and Markets. We're at June 1 for MiningClips.com. I'm Rob Goodman, and as always, Mickey Fulp, the Mercenary Geologist, will make sense of it all. Okay, Mickey, some pretty good economic data today. Let's run through this all here. We're gold off a little bit again this week.
Gold was off a bit. It's been range bound since it broke through its 200-day moving average. What is it now? Well over 2 weeks ago. Been between 1292 and 1305. It finished at the bottom end of that today at 1293. Lost $7 for the week. Silver, I mean, who cares? 6 weeks of Fridays, plus or minus 10-cent range. Closed this week once again at the bottom of that range at 1637 for a 9-cent loss. Platinum was up $4 to 904. Palladium had a really good week, up $23 to close at 998 for a 2.5% gain.
And copper relatively flat, up a penny.
Yeah, it remains in backwardation for 2 or 3 or 4 months, depending on the day. Closed at 312, up a penny on the week. Seeing little movement. This is a low demand season for physical copper from May till mid-June. One thing I saw today, quite interesting, copper mine grades worldwide average a little bit more than 0.5% copper. The development, feasibility, and pre-feasibility projects in the pipeline are all grading well below 0.4% copper. We have about half the current mine resources in the pipeline. So we have a supply crunch coming in the copper market in the medium term.
And heading over to the energy markets here, where oil off again this week.
Oil had a rough couple of days, dropped $2. It's approaching that support level of $66. It closed at 66.56 for a 1.5% loss. Rigs are up 1 to 1,060. Production up for 14 weeks in a row in the U.S., now at almost 10.8 million barrels per day. Inventories were down 3.5 million barrels. But really, the real story is the bottlenecks that are occurring in the Permian. Can't get the oil to the market right now. Not enough pipeline capacity. And that's led to a Brent to WTI arbitrage at $10, and that's a 3-year high, more than a 3-year high. Meanwhile, uranium, more good news this week of the uranium patch. Kazakhstan announced additional cuts to production, and the DOE comes out and says, we're going to subsidize coal plants and nuclear plants to keep them from closing because we don't think that renewables and natural gas are secure supplies. So that pushed the uranium price over $23, which we have not seen since mid-January. Closed at $23.13 for better than a percent gain.
And heading over to these currency markets, we're relatively flat across the board.
Yeah, we did have some movement in the dollar yesterday. Trump lashed out at both Mexico and Canada and said we weren't going to extend their steel and aluminum tariffs. The dollar did not react well to that, but it was up today on the strong employment numbers. Unemployment at a 50-year low of 3.8% created something on the order of 220,000 jobs. For the week, the dollar closed flat at 94.24. It's the first week in quite a while where it hasn't been on the uptick. Euro, continual problems, this time with Italy and Spain with debt and wanting to leave the union. Rob, the pigs are back. If you remember back in the day when the euro was under lots of fire, we talked about the pigs. Portugal, Ireland, Italy, Greek, and Spain. Well, certainly 3 of those are back now. Euro closed at 1.165. Was only off a couple of pennies on the week. Meanwhile, loonie was flat despite negative news on NAFTA and weak oil prices. It was able to hang in there at 77 cents and change.
And wrapping up these equities markets, up and down, back and forth. Dow couldn't quite get back. NASDAQ put a decent week together.
Yeah, it's plus or minus on the week. A lot of it depends on reactions to whatever the Trump administration is going to pull out its hat on a daily basis. The news of the day, the markets go up, the markets go down. The Dow finished at 24,635, down 0.5%. S&P 500 broader index up 2732 for a little less than a 0.5% gain. NASDAQ was a really good performer, closed at 75.49 for a 1.5% gain. You know, it's not too far off now. It's all-time high. And finally, the venture exchange did not have a good week, dropped another 9 points, down well over 1%. It is well below its 50, 100, and 200-day moving averages. The markets, U.S. markets, were closed on Monday, so volumes were especially down on that day and were down on all the week.
Okay, Mickey, as always, appreciate the insight, and we'll catch you next week. Enjoy your weekend.
All right, thanks a lot, Rob.